How you doing, folks? So I, like many fans, was saddened by the recent passing of actor Efrem Zimbalist Jr. I, of course, knew him best as the wonderful voice of Alfred Pennyworth on Batman the Animated Series. He was a very prolific actor, and he just passed away at the age of 95. He, of course, did many TV shows and movies, such as The FBI, 77 Sunset Strip, and later on the 1990 TV series for Zorro, where he played Zorro's father. I'm pretty sure I saw that because I was watching Zorro at that time. And of course he also did the voice of Dr. Octopus on Spider-Man the Animated Series. And I also recently saw him when I was catching up on Season 4 of Babylon 5. And I bring this up because I found that there are actually an awful lot of actors, a curious number of actors, who appeared on Batman the Animated Series who also showed up on Babylon 5. So let's go over some of them. First up, in Season 1, Episode 15, entitled Grail, we have two actors, first of whom is David Warner. And of course you know him from Batman as the voice of Ra's al Ghul. David Warner happens to be one of my favorite character actors, appearing in such classics as Tron, Time Bandits, Star Trek VI, where he played Chancellor Gorkin, and also Star Trek V, which never happened. On Babylon 5, he plays Aldous Gajik, a former accountant turned wanderer who is going from planet to planet on a quest to search for the fabled Holy Grail, a quest he took over from another dude who died. It sounds weird, but Ambassador Delenn thinks that, she thinks this is really cool. She's like, it's all about the journey, not the destination, that kind of thing. On the same episode, we have William Sanderson, who you'll recognize as kind-hearted industrialist Carl Rossum. And of course, he also appeared on Blade Runner, Newhart, more recently True Blood, and lots of other stuff. Here he plays Deuce, a notorious gangster wanted for many crimes, but he is having all of the witnesses against him mind-wiped with the help of a monster who we are meant to think is Ambassador Kosh. Now, spoiler alert, it's not really Kosh, but rather an alien monster wearing a Kosh suit for reasons. You can check out the episode yourself to see how these two plots intersect. Now, going into Season 2 is where things get interesting. Like, why is the entire cast of Star Trek appearing on gargoyles kind of interesting? First up, in Episode 3 of Season 2, The Geometry of Shadows, we have Michael Ansara. He just actually passed away last year at the age of 91 after a very prolific career where he appeared on Star Trek as Klingon Ambassador Kang, but he was excellent, and also Law of the Plainsman, and dozens of shows in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and of course I knew him best as the voice of Mr. Freeze. Here he plays Elric the Techno-Mage. The Techno-Mages are a group of guys who use various technologies to simulate the appearance of magic. It's actually a pretty cool idea. Centauri Ambassador Londo here believes that he can advance himself politically if he can win an endorsement from these guys, like the original Centauri Ambassador did way back in the day. So he spends much of the episode harassing Elric and his cohorts. They retaliate by sticking their holographic monsters on him and infecting his computer with a virus. It's quite hilarious. In the end, Londo gets what he wants, sort of, as Elric gives him an ominous prediction about what lies ahead. Moving on to Episode 6 of Season 2, Spider in the Web, we have Adriana Barbeau, who you remember from such B-movie classics as The Fog, Creepshow, Escape from New York, and Swamp Thing, and of course I recognize her from Batman as the voice of the wonderfully sexy Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman. Here she plays Amanda Carter, who's part of the provisional government of Mars and is on the station to work out a trade deal with a big CEO. However, the CEO is soon murdered by an assassin who we later find was supposed to be dead, is currently brainwashed, and has ties to Carter's past. Over in Episode 12 of Season 2, Acts of Sacrifice, we have Paul Williams, actor-composer. He's mainly a composer, and a very beloved, well-known composer at that, who occasionally does acting in between. He did the theme song to The Love Boat, the Muppet movie, songs from there, The Rainbow Connection, that was his. Lots of other stuff, and then he occasionally acts in between. And of course I recognize his voice as the voice of Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin. Here he plays Tak, who is one half of a pair of the Lumati, who are here to check out the station for a possible alliance. Tak is the sidekick to the delegate, and he does most of the talking. To put it bluntly, the Lumati are dicks. They're here to see whether the humans are an inferior race or not, and they spend a lot of time just being stuck-up assholes. Not a fun group of guys to hang out with, especially for the short-tempered Ivanova, who's assigned to give these guys the grand tour. Finally, in episode 13 of season 2, Hunter Prey, we have Richard Mall, best known for a number of roles. He's a gentle giant, and he played the role of Bull Shannon on Night Court, and of course he played Harvey Dent, and later Two-Face on Batman the Animated Series, and he also provided the voice of the Bat Computer. Here he plays Max, a lurker in Down Below, who discovers this dude, Dr. Jacobs, who's the focus of the episode, who's down there hiding out on the station on the run from EarthGov. So Max decides, what the hell, he kidnaps him and holds him for ransom. So that's 4 major Batman rogues, all appearing in one season. That's kind of interesting. Moving into season 3, we have just a couple of actors. The first one, I wasn't sure about mentioning this one, but hey, might as well, is Michael York. Best known for Logan's Run, and my favorite is playing D'Artagnan in the Three Musketeers movies, directed by Richard Lester, and of course modern audiences know him best as Basil Exposition in the Austin Powers movies. Here, Michael York strolls onto the station in full dress armor and broadsword, claiming to be none other than the legendary Arthur Pendragon. And of course he manages to make quite a scene while the main cast tries to figure out who this guy really is. He soon strikes up a friendship with Jakar, of all people, and they shoot the breeze and beat up some bad guys in Down Below, and it's actually a hell of a lot of fun. It's eventually revealed in a dark twist that Arthur is really one David McIntyre, who was the gunnery sergeant for Earth Force 15 years back, who just so happens to be the triggerman who fired the first shot that began the Earth-Minbari War that led to the deaths of hundreds of millions of people, and since then has suffered a psychotic break. It's actually really good stuff. Now this next one, and I guess the last one after that, constitutes a major spoiler, so just don't watch the rest of this video if you don't like spoilers and want to check out the series. But in the second to last episode of season 3, Shadow Dancing, our fearless Captain Sheridan comes back to his quarters to discover his wife, Anna, waiting for him. Anna was supposed to be dead when her ship blew up exploring a strange planet. Anna is played by none other than Melissa Gilbert, Bruce Boxleitner's real-life wife at the time. Melissa Gilbert grew up in front of the camera, playing Laura Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie from the ages of like 10 to 18 or so, and appeared on a number of shows, and then turned up on Batman the Animated Series as Barbara Gordon, and then later Batgirl. She was recently on Dancing with the Stars, where she went toe-to-toe with Joey Fatone, Apollo Ono, and a few others. So yeah, quite a twist when she shows up. Later turns out that she's basically a lackey for the Shadows, who were like the evil space demons. And it's a little hard to explain, but she may not even actually be Anna anymore. Just watch the show. It's pretty cool. And that brings us full circle to our final crossover casting. Efrem Zimbalist Jr., who appears on Babylon 5 in the episodes 16 and 17 of season 4, Exercise of Vital Powers, and Face the Enemy. He plays William Edgars, who has been working behind the scenes up to this point in the season, and finally reveals himself here to former Security Chief Garibaldi. William Edgars is an industrialist who's one of the big behind-the-scenes power brokers behind Earth Alliance. He's managed to make a lackey out of our beloved Garibaldi and has an ambitious plan to unleash a virus that will kill all the telepaths. So pretty sure that's everybody. Anyway, both series were created under the Warner Brothers television umbrella, so that probably has something to do with the overlap. But yeah, really fascinating. So yeah, that's it. Rest in peace, Efrem Zimbalist Jr., and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.